right?
Right.
And
So I also have another question. So you talked about foreign stuff. What about the influence of some of these foreign ideas coming into mainstream media within the United States, or within a country, that then the amplifier is actually the domestic media? Is it based on foreign ideas coming in that are influencing that amplification within, like, let's say, the United States, or is it an idealistic bend within the United States making it kind of something domestic, right? Like, so what does the data tell you from what you've seen?
Well, I mean, it's both. Again, let's talk about the adversaries. They love to use, of course, again, think of it as a missile or think of it as a system. They use our systems, our distribution, right? Besides TikTok, right? They use our stuff, right? Our shotguns, our
transport,
rifles. Yeah. They use our shotguns, our rifles. They use our bullets most of the time, right? I mean, it depends on who you're talking about, but they do create, they have, clearly disinformation as a service, massive disinformation services groups over there that are constantly pumping out content. But I think the most damaging of the bullets they use is our own media, for sure. And they know that. Again, they play on that. And so they know they can take a right or a left position with our own media, and they can amplify that with their persona, right? Makes sense, all the time. Again, with language detection and narrative tracing, remember, we're able to show how they literally took, an article from this US publication, tweaked 2 or 3 words and called it their article. I mean, that is so evident. We show that every day. So I think it's both, and then of course, so they're taking our media, amplifying our media, but then remember, their whole point. I don't know if you ever read like Screw Tape Letters, one of my cool book by C.S. Lewis, incredible book. That's what they do, right? They get you to think, and they get in your head, and they want you, drive your emotions, and then the next thing you do, you're shooting the same missile they just shot.
Right.
Yeah. Remember,
and that's where it gets very complex.
Back to the active measures, 1923, Soviet doctrine is propaganda has to have a kernel of truth. And so if it doesn't have that truth, it's just a lie. Lies don't work, right? So it's got to be a narrative has to piggyback on some small amount of truth.